What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Talking to the Benfica podcast, episode number 253. My name is Alfredo. I'm here with Cristiano Oliveira. Cristiano, what's happening, my brother?
What's going on?
Nothing much. Mr. Santos is over in Chopland, so he couldn't be with us together. We tried to get Sergio Jafust, but he's too much of a celebrity now, so we couldn't book him. He was too busy. Uh, Love you, Sergio. Anyway, on tonight's podcast, we will take a look at the transfer window. It's been a while since we've been here. In the meantime, the transfer window has closed. So we will look at all the moves by Benfica before the transfer window closed up. We'll also look at and recap the Portimonense game, which happened this past Friday. And we'll also recap Benfica's game, the first game for Benfica for the Champions League match day one against CSKA at Stadio de Luz this past Tuesday, yesterday, as we record this. We'll break that down, and we'll look ahead to Benfica's trip over to Porto to play Boa Vista at Stadio do Bessa. So without further ado, Cristiano, let's get into this transfer window. Obviously, we were waiting for Benfica to make some moves in regards to maybe a right back, maybe a center back, maybe even a left back. We did grab Vilar Formoso as a keeper, 18-year-old. I don't think he's going to get much playing time, especially in the league. And especially if Julio Cesar continues to be healthy enough to make the bench, whether or not he's healthy enough to be a starter, or whether or not Vitória wants to continue to give his confidence to Varela so he doesn't defeat Varela's confidence, which, if we're going to be honest, Varela has been doing a good job. He hasn't really compromised much, especially in these two games that we're going to recap. So I think he's doing the right thing by maintaining the confidence that he's had in Varela, even though Cristiano was asking me off air, why isn't Julio Cesar playing?
Yeah, I think if Julio Cesar is healthy, I'd much rather go with him because, obviously all things we've gone over in the past, experience, the guy's been there, done it all. He's seen it all. I feel a little bit more comfortable with him back there with the ball at his feet. We saw Varela couple of times struggle with the ball at his feet against Portimonense, so definitely fits up to me, and he's healthy. I'm playing him. But you know what? Mentioning the three goalkeepers, I could see a rotation here that maybe you get the kids Vilar in a Taça da Liga, Taça da Cerveja, you get him some burn there. Maybe if he sticks with Varela on the first team, sticks with him between the pipes, he'll beat a guy in Liga NOS, and then maybe you get Julio Cesar, in there with Taça de Portugal.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple games in the Champions League. We'll see what happens. I mean, I don't know if it's just if he's 100% yet, or it's really a technical decision to go ahead with the younger goalkeeper and get this guy some more experience.
Yeah, so from what we understand, Julius Cesar's problem is the back. And as you know, the back isn't like a torn hamstring where there's some therapy you got to go through. Of course, there's some stretch exercises, then some light exercises. But really, the problem in the back is something that it takes time to heal. And I think at the age that Julius Cesar is, as we all know, it takes him a little longer to heal. Of course, he's had this problem for quite some time. So we're not sure or whether or not he needs extra time. But my feeling, and from what we understand, is that Julio Cesar is being cautiously introduced into the team and is being worked into fitness by Rui Vitória.
But if that is the case, then right, I'm gonna ask the same question as I would ask for any field player. Why have him on the bench then? If he's not 100% ready, right? Why have him on the bench? I mean, there's always a possibility of an injury to Varela. And now, what, you're gonna bring a guy that's not 100%? I mean, so. I do think he's healthy enough to play right now. I just think that, unfortunately, I think that he's probably has to work through some of the rust. A guy that's been sitting around for a little while, and I think that Benfica does have confidence in Varela, and it's also one of those things where you implement another kid made in Seychelles. I think it's a statement.
I mean, it could
call me crazy, but I think it has a lot to do with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's anybody's guess, but let's look at the numbers or the names actually that went out. So Mitroglou went out to Marseille. 20 million was it, Cristiano? I
It
don't have
was
the
like
number in front of me.
15 with another 12 million, 12.5 million coming in since 2019 or something like. It's a crazy or
Yeah.
50% of another transfer. I mean, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but it was 15 million up front with an additional 12 or 15 mil come if they sell them or whatever by 2019 or they don't.
Yeah, so the biggest thing with Mitroglou is obviously Mitroglou
You'd have asked
hadn't
me
been
3 weeks
playing.
ago, I would have remembered. Right now, I forgot.
Mitroglou hadn't been playing. Of course, we saw the dynamic between the duo of Jonas and Seferovic. So really, we're thinking, and if Mitroglou is seeing the writing on the wall, he's saying, all right, well, it doesn't look like I'm going to get much playing time because now I got to compete with Raul for that third spot. The other thing is that there's a lot of people saying that Mitroglou, and they're completely right. Mitroglou is more of a box player than Seferovic is, and oftentimes when we need to break down defenses and when we need to serve crosses into the box, Seferovic is not the guy that's going to appear in the heart of the box. Jonas will appear every once in a while, but he's the guy that likes to pull out of defenses and get the ball. So it's a little bit more complicated. So people, and I don't know if I put myself in that group, but people are saying that Benfica gave up a guy whose goal output in the past couple seasons has been the best for Benfica, and have also lost a guy from the box. So yes, Benfica did lose a valuable asset, if you ask me. But I think that when you're looking at your depth squad at the forward position, regardless of whether a guy is natural playing in a box or not, you get an offer for 15 million plus added
28-year-old
for a 28-year-old, which right now you're looking at the depth squad,
and a guy that was expandable.
Right.
Absolutely.
Not to mention the high salary that he's probably making because Benfica just offered him a contract last year. So, I mean, there's all these things that you got to weigh out when you look at this move. For me, it's good business for Benfica. Like I mentioned, good money, and you're also cutting a guy that whose wages is probably top 5 on the team.
I think Benfica, once they signed Seferovic, they made a decision that either Mitroglou or Jimenez, one of the two had to go. And obviously, Luis Riviera did not get the offers that he expected to get for Jimenez. And I don't even know how the hell you could expect to get those offers from him. I mean, he's talking about he's going to be a transfer record out of record transfer out of Portugal. I don't know what the hell he's talking about. But I think once Seferovic came in and he adapted real quickly to the Portuguese league, and he's pretty much scoring a goal a game. Yeah. Okay. I think he became expandable, and then they had the option of going and getting Gabigol, totally different player that adds, creativity, a player that could break down defenses on his own. I know he's pretty bad at Inter Milan. I know a lot of people are not happy with this addition because, again, I mean, let's face it, he was a flop. But coming to the Portuguese league is, call it what it is, an easier league to play in. The kid has a chance, and we'll see what happens with him. I know it's early, but we'll see what happens. He does have tremendous amount of talent, and hopefully he's professional about it. Hopefully he works and, he digs in and he decides that he wants to become a pro because, a pro's pro. I shouldn't say a pro because he's already a pro, but a pro's pro, a guy that's going to be there for his team and give it his all every single day. So at the end of the day, Mitroglou is expandable. They got 15 mil with another 12.5, whatever it is, coming by 2019 or something like that. All I know is that he wasn't pretty happy that he left Benfica. The next day in his introduction press conference, they asked him, why'd you leave Benfica? He goes, don't ask me. I have no idea. Ask them.
Yeah.
So he wasn't too happy. And then the Marseille fans weren't too happy finding out that they just spent a boatload of money on a guy that's not even healthy to play yet.
Yeah.
So, all in all, not a good day for Marseille, but a good business deal for Benfica.
Right, absolutely. And you briefly mentioned Gabagool. Gabagool. It's Tony Soprano used to say, I want to send her to Gabagool. Well, you mentioned absolutely right. The kid has a tremendous amount of talent. He's also a very young kid. Obviously, these kids and look, I don't know all the story behind Gabagool. From Brazil. I don't know if he was a favela boy or what, if he was raised in poverty. Some of those guys, most of those guys are. So when you catch yourself in Europe with some superstar status and some money, it takes a little bit to adapt, not only to the strict guidelines of European clubs, but also the type of football that's played in Europe. We all know that the Italian league is known for being very strict with their tactics, and most of the players that come from Brazil don't have the tactical acumen that a lot of these kids that are raised up in Portugal or in Italy have. So we don't know what really happened over there and why he wasn't able to cement a place in the starting lineup. The point is that the kid is talented. He's still young. There's a tremendous margin for growth because he's so young. And then the other thing, as Cristiano mentioned, has to be a professional. Have to train hard. You have to stay out of the picanha places in Lisbon. And you just have to, you have to behave, because if you want to launch your career and if you want to do well this year, so next year, Inter is taking you serious, because obviously there's a loan, and I believe there's
Benfica,
a clause.
Benfica has an option to buy 25 mil.
Right. Benfica is probably never going to buy a player for $25 million.
Well, they spent 22 mil on Jimenez. So why wouldn't they spend? Let's say this kid has
I'm going to tell you,
let's just say this kid has a breakout year, right? 21 years old. Has a breakout year. They buy him for 25. And he has another fabulous year the year following. They could sell the kid for 40. I mean, that's the type of business that Benfica. And if you could buy Jimenez for 22.3 or 23, whatever it is, you could obviously buy this kid.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm just saying, it wouldn't be the crazy. Look, I think it's all positive for Benfica. If he performs, they get a player 25 mil that they could eventually sell out for a lot more money. The kid is ultra talented. And again, he went to a team in Inter Milan. Okay, they didn't have the best of seasons, but their squad is much deeper than Benfica.
True.
Kid comes in with high expectations. He wants to do his little showboat and dance and mess around with everybody. Coaches don't take him serious. His own teammates don't take him serious. But maybe that's a wake-up call for him. Maybe he's like, wait a minute. I've arrived at a giant. They turned me down. This is my chance. But then again, I sat here right behind the same exact mic, and I said the same thing about Taarabt, and obviously that didn't work out. And I'm not comparing this kid to Taarabt yet because he's very young and it's early in his career. But hopefully he does have that light bulb go off in his head, and he wants to dig in. And again, if it works out, Benfica get positive, goals and playmaking ability from this kid, and they could always buy him and turn around and sell him at a higher value later on. And the other good positive thing about this is that our good friend Patrick Kendrick said that he'd buy me small for every goal he scores.
All right.
So I'm rooting hard for Gabagoo. Gabagoo. I'm rooting hard for this kid because I love Small. Who the hell doesn't love Small? I mean, so
Small and Marmelada. Who doesn't like that? So anyway, like we said, the talent is definitely there. Whether or not the head is there, we shall see. But like Cristiano said, this is the perfect opportunity for him to just a wake-up call.
It is, but I also have to add in here. I'm sorry, Alfred. I have to add this. It leaves me a little bit confused, scratching my head, because he's not a striker. He's more of a winger on a 4-3-3 system, which we do not implement at all. I don't even remember the last time if we ever played a 4-3-3 under Rui Vitória. Maybe for a spurt here and there, but he's a guy that's more suited to play in the Jonas role if he's not playing out on the wing, and obviously he's not going to bench Jonas. But he does give you an option to rest Jonas. At least it gives you that, and play him in, give Jonas a breather. And because, the guy like Steve has mentioned, everyone's mentioned, he's been injured the last couple of seasons. He's getting up there in age. So at least we get that option to give him a breather. We'll see what happens. I'm excited because the kid is ultra talented. He does a lot of, but he has a lot of Ginga in his game.
Yeah.
So anytime Benfica gets to play with Ginga, I'm excited, man.
Of course. The other name was Douglas, the guy that we went back and forth.
Barcelona's worst
Barcelona, player. Right back. Whether or not he's going to be able to feature for Benfica, that's yet to be seen. I haven't read one good positive thing about Douglas, so I am very, very hesitant with this acquisition. I don't know what percentage of his salary Benfica is paying. I don't know. I just think that yes, the right back position needs an upgrade over Almeida.
Almeida's good. He's good as a fill-in, but now when you have to count on this dude week in, week out,
buracos.
yeah, that's what he is. Polyvalent. But when you have to count on this guy week in, week out, and then you have Eliseo on the other side, now you're really struggling. So, look, I'm one of those guys. I'm gonna wait and see with this Douglas character. All I know is that Jesus Christ, I don't know what the hell I'm thinking about. All I know is that Barcelona should have paid his whole salary due to the fact we gave him the best right back in the world. They should have just been like, look, we bought him for cheap at 30 million. Here you go. We're gonna pay this guy's salary. Do what you have to do. And unfortunately, that wasn't the case. Somehow there was other teams interested in him. I just don't see it. I think that Barcelona did a great job negotiating with Benfica. I know some people are excited about him.
I'm not.
I'm up in the air. I'm up in the air. We'll see what happens.
I'm not excited.
Hopefully, he's an upgrade over Almeida.
I want to go on record here that I'm not excited about Douglas, and that Ali Crow, if I have to, at the end of the season or whenever he becomes a prominent part of this team. But as of right now, I have very low expectations for him. I think that is just a waste, really. But then again, with the state of our right back position, we're not really sure what's going to happen there at this point. I think that even a mediocre to an average guy may be able to cement his place. And if there's anything that Douglas brings is attacking play, which we're severely lacking, because after Semedo left, and we all know Semedo carried Benfica last season for some part of the season because of of going forward and creating opportunities. Right now, we don't have that Andre Almeida, despite him being the guy at Benfica with the most crosses.
To nobody. To nobody. To the eagle behind the goal. He's been tremendous.
But so as of right now, I mean, Pedro Pereira's still around. He didn't go anywhere.
I'll tell you what's more likely to happen here. Okay, you ready for this? Based on what's happened to our team over the last couple of seasons with injuries, Grimaldo's back, so it's a matter of time before he gets injured. We all know he played yesterday in Champ. We'll get into that in a little while. But the guy plays 2 games, sits out 6 months, 2 games, 3 games, 6 months. So odds of him getting hurt are very, very good. Eliseo, another guy, up there in age, slow. He's probably going to wind up getting hurt as well because our medical staff, I don't know what the hell they're doing. We keep firing and hiring new ones, but yet these guys still keep getting injured. So what's going to happen is Almeida's going to play left back. Douglas is going to play right back. There it is. It is. Both the guys are going to play.
I got to be honest with you. There isn't one player, and look, I give them all the props, but there isn't one player in this year's team that I am severely disliking this season. And that player is Eliseo. I just think that he brings nothing. Every intervention, every play.
Come on, you tell me it's laced, not fun to watch him roll over the ball.
It's
laced
for
contact. And
it's
roll
laced.
over.
It's laced with a foul. There's ill intent on his part. I'm just not enjoying this Eliseo. And look, he could come out on a little pony at the end of the season after the Benfica wins the Penta. And I don't know. I'm just not digging Eliseo this season.
And this goes back to a conversation we had in, I believe, July 4th or right around there, one of our first pods to this season, which was, a question I asked here, and I believe you guys agreed with me, which, I did make the point last year when we wrapped up the season. I thought he would be back because of what he did. I thought Benfica was going to be loyal to him, and they did bring him back. But I thought this was the season to keep Marçal at the club.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
And I don't know why they didn't for $4 million. It's just
it was the money
and the whole thing. And this smells bad. And like I went off a couple of weeks ago about the arrogance of Benfica. And again, they're penny pinching. They robbed from Peter to pay Paul. And okay, we got Eliseo, that's good enough, but you had a player that obviously could have played and really challenged Grimaldo for that spot. You want to keep the old man around because the guy's good in the locker room. I have nothing against that. But you had a player that went on to the French League and was on the team of the year. The dude's spectacular left back. He's only progressed since he's left Benfica on loan. And you send them away for $4 million. You say you don't waste money on signings. What the hell's going on? You sell over $100 million worth of players, and yet you go out and you try to be cheap. The one guy that I am excited, though, that arrived at Benfica this season, Kravinovic.
Yeah.
Too early. I haven't really seen him. I think he's made his debut. Has he played? I think he made one appearance, if I'm not mistaken. But that's the kid I'm really excited about now. Gabigol, I'm a little excited about him as well. But everybody else, man, it's like Bunch of average guys. Sefirovic has done really well. I got to throw that in there as well. He's done better than what we expected. That guy scored 3 goals in like 6 years or whatever it was. I know, exaggerating a little bit, but his numbers were absolutely crazy prior to getting to Benfica. It's just the whole transfer, Mark, the whole transfer.
Benfica didn't do well.
No, they didn't.
They didn't. I mean, if we have to grade Benfica on this transfer window, they didn't do. Yes, you sell players and you cash in millions, over 100 million, whatever it was. Yes, but those players were, I don't want to go as far as saying world class. Some of them are world class.
Best players in the Portuguese league at those positions.
Semedo,
best right back in the world. I've been saying that forever.
Ederson.
Last year, his performances was easily top 5, top 10 in the world. Let's look. Let's pump the brakes a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens. If he has another tremendous season in the EPL, he'll be right up there again. I mean, you're going to talk about him as one of the best 5-7 goalkeepers in the world.
And then Lindelof, which is a guy that, yes, perhaps he's not within the top elite of Europe yet, but we know he has tremendous potential, and we know the role that he played on the team last year. So for us, it's baffling. And if you're the common fan like we are, we have some inside track to certain things here and there.
Sometimes we get it wrong too, that inside track.
But if you're thinking about it, and the whole thing, the whole logic behind it, you lost these 3 crucial pieces of your back 5. Let's replace at least 2 of them.
And out of those back 5, you kept one who's 89 years old and another one that's always injured. Think about that.
Yeah.
I love Luizão. But I've been saying it now, for 2-3 years now. I've been saying it for the longest time. We need a replacement. I guess that replacement was Lindelof. Then Jardel gets hurt, yada, yada, yada. And you know what? The Capitan's still our starting center back.
Yeah.
And he's doing a fine job, but you like to get younger. You like to bring in someone. I know everyone's all crazy about Ruben Diaz and Kalaika and this and that. And I want a guy that gets me excited when I watch this kid play.
No, I agree, and I think that's probably the understatement or the statement, if you will, of Benfica's transfer window, is that we didn't really bring anybody on that would excite us.
And look, let's not forget this: our starting goalkeeper, as of right now, who's started every game, Bruno Varela, was like a throw-in. Like, we're gonna bring him back because we're gonna retire Paulo Santos and Paulo Lopes, whatever. I keep saying Paulo Santos. And we're gonna give this kid, he's gonna be our backup guy, a guy that was born and bred here at Benfica. All of a sudden, the guy's thrust into being your starting goalkeeper. Even in that, they got lucky in a way. Julio Cesar gets hurt. They had no plan. They stayed. Every single goalie in the world was linked with Benfica, and then wound up with a kid who's 18 years old. Okay, fine. He's the hottest prospect at position in the world. They did, supposedly, according to the baller, they signed another Ecuadorian kid, a Colombian kid, whatever the hell he is, Venezuelan goalkeeper on the 20. They're loaning him out to Millonarios because Benfica has some type of an agreement, a share. I don't know what the hell it is. Some type of, an agreement with Millonarios. They're sending him there. But still, there's still so much to be answered.
So, not a very good transfer window for Benfica, if you ask me. Yes, they sold a lot of players. I think they failed to get some key players. And look, the modus operandum that the team that how we've been seeing from the team these past couple years is that the team or the technical staff feels that they have they have adequate backups to fill in these roles. Look, they've been fortunate enough, and I think that Cristiano sometimes mentions here when we talk about Renato Sanchez, when we talk about Lindelof, these are all guys that were brought on out of necessity. They weren't personally guys that were, okay, this guy is sitting right here, and as soon as this happened, we're going to trigger them. And when Cristiano mentions that, he has a point. Now, failing to bring guys to cement to make this starting 11 better is not really it doesn't bode well with me. And I think that this team, the Champions League, I don't think we have chances to go far in the Champions League.
It's not even a tough group.
Yeah, and I think that in the league we're going to struggle because both our direct opponents seem to have gotten something together. I don't want to talk about them, but you guys all know what we're talking about. Anyway, so that was the transfer window for Benfica.
One of those you want to forget.
Yeah, absolutely. And then again, 9 months from now, we might be laughing about what we're saying now. But I think that as of right now, as you look at
It
this
doesn't
team,
look good, dude.
as you look at this team, and as you look at the guys they brought in, it's not encouraging. And yes, I want to support the team and I want to support the guys, but I mean, you take a step back, even as a neutral, you take off your red glasses and you look at this team, and you're like, wow.
Listen, man. You said it before, and I'll repeat it. I don't care if you're Porto Sport or Benfica. I don't give a crap what team you are. It's hard to replace Nelson Smith, Victor Lindelof, and Ederson. Just those three alone in the back of your defense in the Portuguese league. I don't care. None of those other teams will be able to survive. Okay? It's very hard. And Benfica, again, for the past couple of seasons, 3 or 4 years, they were able to go get the Lindelofs, the Nelson Smith. Those players aren't on Benfica B anymore. And I know they're trying to promote these kids and João Carvalho and the other kid, the other winger, Gonçalves and Ruben. I mean, if you have trust in these guys, why aren't they playing? I mean, right now the team is struggling, and these kids still don't get to see the field.
Yeah,
they're not at that level. I don't think they're at that level. I'm not saying they won't get to that level, but they're not there now. And right now is when the team's struggling. Right now is when I care about the player stepping up. Not in 6 months, not next year. It's now.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, Benfica this year does not have the luxury, okay, to take it easy and drop a couple of points here. Because Porto and Sporting, whether you like to admit it or not, ladies and gentlemen, they've improved.
Yeah. Don't forget that the game of football is 90% mental. So whether or not you got talent, whether or not you're a young player with good feet, if you're not ready to step up and to take a step into the next level of your career, to the next level of competition, there's a good chance that you may end up burning yourself. And that's something that Benfica is also cautious about it, because you don't want to burn these kids. You don't want them to burn out. You don't want to put them in a situation where they'll feel the weight of the shirt and they will burn out. So you kind of don't want to eliminate certain stages of their development. And yes, they've been earmarked as talented players that could do well for the team. But I think that right now you got to look at them mentally and see whether or not they're prepared mentally to take the next step, to put on a shirt, to step out on the luge, to listen to 56,000 fans, cheer you on or boo you when you make a mistake, or have fans doubt, or you're even worse, yourself doubting what your abilities are. That is the worst thing you could do to a young player. So they have to be slowly put into this team. Steps.
I agree with you 100%. Those are all very good points. But unfortunately, in this case right now, as we speak, I just don't think those guys are playing, not because they're trying to protect them. I just don't think they're better than the average guys we have.
There could be.
That's the crazy thing, is none of the center backs are better than a guy you all hate to love, Lisandro. They're not better than him right now.
Yeah.
João Carvalho and Diogo, they're not
Ruben.
Well, those are the center backs.
Okay.
I'm moving on to the mid. None of those, the Carvalho and those guys, and Horta then now's been shipped out. None of those guys are better than the other option. Think about it. We have a Portuguese international on the bench. Yeah. Think about that. Well, no longer. Now the guy they don't even sniff the national team. But we have Rafa, who was an undisputable guy, part of the 23 for every tournament. Now he doesn't even play. So are you telling me, as bad as he's been, and I'm not, I'm tired of his ass, right? But you telling me João Carvalho and Gonçalves, whatever, they're better than him? They're not.
Well, and that's the thing. And then there's the other argument that you said, well, you don't know until you try it. But then it goes back to my point that I was making before, that if you introduce these kids too early at this level and they can't handle the pressure mentally, there's a good chance that you'll end up losing these kids and you'll end up damaging their confidence. So yeah, they are talented. And as Cristiano mentioned, whether they're at the same level of skill as the guys that we have, maybe not, maybe they are, but mentally, that's where you're going to look at. That's what the coaching staff is looking at and seeing whether these guys are ready mentally or not.
They might even be, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. They might even be at the same skill level, but the experience it's used, especially in the Champions League and stuff like that, the experience is also huge. So they'd rather go with an experienced guy over a youngster, slowly ease them into the rotation. But unfortunately, I don't think that any of these guys that we're talking about are better than what we already have. And that's the scary thing, because the guys we already have are guys that were like, if they weren't good, they would easily replace those other options.
Yeah, so you trust Vitoria's judgment when it comes to that?
want to get into Vitoria, but I just think it's.
But we don't want to make any choices.
I guess so. I think at the end of the day, these kids aren't ready. I'm not saying they won't get there, but I don't think they're ready yet.
So you feel that this is a Vitoria choice?
Yeah, it has to be. It has to be. I mean, I can't, because I think if it comes from upstairs, they want these kids to play because they want to sell you on the Made in Seychelles. And again, if they're playing these kids, right, it's a built-in excuse as to, okay, we're not up there with the other two rivals. You know what I'm trying to say? So
yeah,
the coach wants to win. Rui Vitoria wants to win. So he's going to put his best players. I don't think, and it goes back to when JJ, they played whoever the hell was the best, they thought were the better players at the time. And I think this is the case here.
Yeah, even Bruno Cesar.
Bruno Cesar did his thing.
What was the dude with the dreadlocks, a left back?
Emerson and Cortez.
Yeah, Bruno Cortez.
Anyway,
let's get into the Portimonense game. Benfica played Portimonense this past Friday at Estádio da Luz. Game that we saw Benfica line up with Varela, Almeida, Luizão, Lisandro, and Eliseu. Samaris behind Pizzi, Zivkovic was on the right, Servi was on the left, Jonas and Seferovic. So Salvio has been hurt, as we know, and Zivkovic finally gets a chance after being passed over, if you will, for Servi on the left-hand side. So Salvi wasn't ready yet. Zivkovic gets a chance. So Benfica faces Portimonense. Portimonense has just gotten promoted
by winning the second division.
How many?
Vitor Oliveira.
They spent how many years in? They spent quite a few years in the second division, if I'm not mistaken. So the return of Portimonense. Portimonense came into Estádio da Luz. Vitor Oliveira said he wasn't going to park the bus, but they were very organized in defense. They weren't a total a defensive team.
No.
But they were very organized. They knew where to explore. They knew that they needed to isolate Pizzi to prevent Pizzi from getting the ball.
Pizzi play?
And I don't know. You got to give credit to the opponent, to the opposing team, obviously, for taking Pizzi out of the game. But here's the thing. We've seen Pizzi struggle now. We've seen Pizzi struggle against Portimonense. We've seen Pizzi struggle against CSKA. And the thing that I'm thinking is that I'm wondering whether or not Pizzi's award for player of the league last year got to his head, and he really is struggling with his form, or if he's just going through a rough patch right now. I can't put my finger on it, but I think that Benfica is too dependent on Pizzi's creation, game creation, opportunity creation, and especially feeding Jonas. With Jonas depends a lot, and as Cristiano and I were speaking about this off air, Jonas depends a lot on a guy feeding him the balls in the right places, and that guy happens to be Pizzi. And when you take Pizzi out of the games, and we've seen this in Europe especially, teams take out Pizzi out of the games, not giving too much time for him to think the game, for him to pass, look up and see where the passes are. And so I think that the little teams have now found a way to kind of isolate Pizzi.
Here's a couple of things. One, believe it or not, I'm going to give the dude the benefit of the doubt because he's coming off an injury. And I know he hasn't been good this season, but he is coming off an injury. Remember, he got sent home from the Portuguese national team. It's going to take him a little time to get in his rhythm, but then this is the negative part of my judgment here, or my comment, I should say, which is, yet again, another coach comes into Estádio da Luz, all right, and is better tactically than Rui Vitoria. And again, people understand nowadays, whether it's Champions League or in the Portuguese League, doesn't matter if it's a small team, the big, they understand everything goes through Pizzi. Everything. And they've learned to shut that down. And I'll mention here 50 times, and I'll keep repeating myself. Pizzi's a tremendous player when no one's around him. Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? So am I. But then when teams don't give him any space, don't give him any room to maneuver and to do his thing, guess what? Pizzi's an average player. And teams have learned to just pressure Pizzi, be on this guy, wear this guy out. Benfica's not going to do anything with the ball. And in particularly when Feja is out of the game.
Yeah.
When Feja's not in the lineup, Benfica's a totally different team. Samaris, that game against Portimonense, his first game of the season, the worst player for me on the field. I don't care when he was playing defense center mid, when they moved back to center back, he was the worst player on the field for me. He gives you absolutely nothing. Kept turning the ball over, held on to the ball a little bit too long. He didn't do his defensive responsibility as well as Feja does. Feja gets in place, gets the ball, plays it out, gets back into simple, nice and easy. Pizzi needs that behind him.
Yeah.
Now, when people put pressure and close up Benfica and they don't give them the space, Pizzi, Jonas, every one of these guys, they're gone.
Yeah.
You're not going to see him in the game. But it's unfortunate that you get a guy like Vitor Oliveira, a guy who's a magician in the second division. Nobody's ever promoted as many teams to the first league in Portugal as he has, like 5 years in a row, 6 years in a row, something crazy like that. Dude's a tremendous coach. And he comes into Estádio da Luz with a team that just got promoted from the second division last year. 95% of the players on this roster were in second division last year. They come into Portugal, and you get the Nakajima running all over in the first half. I understand Benfica had the better possession, but they definitely created the better chances in the first half. And Fabrício, whatever his name, the kid that scored a goal, what was his name? The Brazilian kid that played in Japan. What's his name? He scored a goal.
Brazuca.
No, not Brazuca. He scored a goal. Whatever. Those two dudes were running all over Benfica in the first half. They had a lot of possession, a whole lot of nothing. But now, another thing I want to say, I'm glad that Zivkovic is finally playing. This kid has to be on the field. I don't care if it's over Serbia. I don't care if it's over South. I don't care who it's over. He's the only one that, as of today, is creating. We saw the same thing in the Champions League. When the dude has the ball at his feet, positive things happen. He gets in behind the fence. He gets around the fence. He could set you up. The dude does it all. He's a youngster. Let the kid play. Just let him go. We all love Salvio's work rate. We all love Sedevic's work rate. And they're both talented in their own ways, but this kid's special. Yeah. Zivkovic is another level type of player. Give the kid the ball. Get him involved with Pizzi. Let the two of them create. Now you got double option. Now you as a coach have to decide who we're zeroing in on.
Yeah.
Are we focusing on Zivkovic or are we focusing on Pizzi? All right? That gives you other alternatives as opposed to just give the ball to Pizzi and let him run around and pass it to nobody. I mean, you had a terrible game, but I'll give him a pass because he's coming back from it.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, right? So obviously teams, when they want to shut down a player, they can shut down a player, whether it's, there's tighter marking or different schemes and occupying spaces around the player, right? The difference that Benfica has had is the fact that, all right, Pizzi shut down, Jonas shut down, there's a guy on the wing that steps up. There's guys on the other parts of the field that steps up. There was Nelson Semedo last year that stepped up. There was Grimaldo at one point early in the season that stepped up, and these guys are making up for the drop in these guys. Right now, Servi is in the worst shape I've seen him at Benfica. Look, the guy did tremendous last year. We all, voted him, I think, for one of the most, surprises of the season, whatever. But right now, he's not playing well. I think that Rui Vitória did the right thing by bringing in Zivkovic. On the other side, Salvio, we know what the story is behind Salvio. We're not even going to touch that. But I think that Vitória has to see which guy is doing better, and he has to be able to have a pulse on a guy's form and say, okay, well, this is a one-off. So I'll give you another go. But when you see that trend and the same things being repeated, lack of confidence, lack of explosiveness, missed passes, sloppy play. Look, there's guys on the bench, guys ready to play him. And I think that's the biggest thing that's come out, out of these two games, which Benfica was horrible in both of these two games. And we'll get into the CSKA game in a little bit, is the coming onto the scene by Zivkovic, which one of the better players against Portimonense, definitely the best Benfica player against CSKA. So there's a positive to come out of this. But I mean, if you look at it, no ideas in the final third by Benfica. There's lack of pace. There's lack of movement. I think that when teams close themselves up in the final third, Benfica has a really hard time penetrating and breaking them down. As far as the defense goes, you're pushing up. The defense doesn't inspire any confidence. Every time that Portimonense came down, there was always a moment of nerves. Combined with the fact that Varela, and people have their questions about Varela's competence, even though he has been doing very well these past couple games, it doesn't inspire confidence. This defense doesn't inspire confidence. I mean, just an example, Varela had more chances, more saves than his counterpart, for Portimonense in the first half.
Yep.
So what does that tell you? What does that tell you about this
That
team and
goes
this
to the
Benfica
point
play?
I made that Benfica had more possession, but they created the better chances.
Right.
And last year we had the luxury. Okay, we had our wingers not perform to the level we all expected last year, but you had Smithu that was carrying the team on his back through the right side, and Grimaldo, when he was healthy, he played well. Not as well as we all anticipated he would, but he played well last season. We don't have that this year. I mean, to me, Alfredo, look, man. Tell Zivkovic you're going to play. I don't care if it's on the right, it's on the left. Ziv, this is your spot to lose. Do what you got to do. You're going to get 3, 4, 5, 6 games in a row. All right. You play bad. Don't worry about it. I'm going to play you again. Believe me or not, that gives a player confidence when the coach just tells you, do what you got to do. You're playing. You're my starting left mid, my starting right mid. I think a kid of that caliber, a special talent like him, he has to play. Just leave him out there and tell, look, I'm not going to take you out unless you're tired. That's totally different. But kid, go out there, play your game, create, do what you have to do, because he's one of the few players on the whole team that could do that.
Yeah. So we give up a goal at the start of the second half. We were able to turn it around with a PK on Salvio, which we got to be honest. He made a meal out of it. It's not as clear of a PK as we've seen before. There's some contact, perhaps not enough contact to bring him down, and I think that a lot has to do with the angle of the referee and how we saw the play. Us that we have the privilege of looking at 5, 6, 7, 8 different camera angles, and we're able to see, well, that is light. There is contact, but it is light. So yes, it was kind of a gift, but I could see from the ref's angle how we could have seen that and called it a penalty. Yeah, it's understood, but he made a meal out of it.
I know you guys hate me for saying this because you guys swear that I should look at everything with red colored glasses, but that's a Portuguese Leonor penalty. Was there minimal contact? Yeah, but he made a meal out of it. He went down way too easy. To me, look, I'll take it because the other teams are getting one as well. They got one earlier that to me was minimum contact, a Portuguese league penalty as well. So I'll take it, but I don't like it. I don't like it, and so that shouldn't have been a penalty. Not only a penalty, that shouldn't have been a red card. Yeah, because you would have never. Maybe it would have been a yellow.
It's a denial, obvious goal scoring opportunity.
No, I get it. I get it why he gave it to him. I'm not saying he shouldn't have gotten it. I'm saying it wasn't a penalty in my mind. Therefore, it shouldn't have been a red as well. That's what I'm trying to say. It's a Portuguese league penalty. We'll take it, but again, Benfica had to get to that to score a goal.
Yeah. So Benfica presses on. Lisandro comes out. Augusto comes in. Samaris drops back to center back. Eliseu comes out. Jimenez gets put in. So at this point,
and you see what happens. One of the best players on the field gets put in at left back. That's what happens with Zivkovic. You put Jimenez on the left wing, and you put Zivkovic as your left back. I mean, the only guy that was creating anything going forward. Okay, guys, let's play left back. You're doing a great job. I mean, Rui Vitória, what? I don't even know what the hell to say.
Yeah, so in the 78th minute, we get the play from Almeida, which is probably a goal he'll remember for the rest of his life. So let's talk about this.
He should walk to Fatima and thank the good Lord. I'm telling you.
He already did.
He should do it. No, right now. Right now, in between games, he should walk to Fatima. I'm telling you.
All right, so I know you and I had a chance to talk about the goal, and Cristiano played quite a bit of soccer
on FIFA, on PlayStation, I should say.
In his young days, and obviously I played a little bit, albeit not at the level that Cristiano got. But let's talk about this, right? So there's obviously the Portimonense coach said that it was a chorizo. A lot of guys think that's
what that chorizo came from.
Yeah,
because I see everybody tagging chorizo on Twitter. Yeah. I have no idea. So he called
that was a chorizo, that they lost the game on a chorizo. But all right, let's talk about this, right? So if you guys want, you guys could go look at the replay, right? So the ball bounces back to Almeida.
Almeida clears it goes out to the right.
Almeida volleys it with his right foot, and it goes in the
shelf, top 90, opposite post.
Perfect goal.
I mean, tremendous.
So a lot of people think that there was a cross gone wrong, but there's a couple things and something I wanted to offer, right? So I think that it's very hard if you're trying to get across into the box and look, it has to be something very well measured and very well placed. I think it's something that you hit with the inside of your foot most of the time because you want to have more control of the ball, right? So the way he hits that with the outside of his right foot, obviously giving the ball the turn. To
He hits it
me,
with the outside of his right and the laces.
and the
Like
laces.
he came down on the ball.
Right.
He came through not as a cross. I mean, if you're watching this,
Well, that is across to,
you know what I
to
feel,
curve away from
I
the
feel like
goal.
Bruno Carvalho doing the right on TV, but he came down on the ball to drive that ball opposite post rather than try. I mean, look, I saw the replay as we all did.
Yeah.
And if go back and watch, he looks up, comes back down, and drives the ball opposite.
And when he
post.
drives it, he follows the trajectory of the ball, and he's looking at goal as he releases.
I actually think he meant to do that, and that's why I said he should walk the Fatima, count his lucky stars, because it came out better than he ever imagined.
Well,
but I think he meant it. Call me crazy. I think he meant it.
Well, here's the thing, right? In the 78th minute, you're down, you're tied, right? And you're trying to get a goal. It's very ballsy for a guy that has the opportunity to get a good cross in to make that kind of a move.
You're right. But then again, if you look back and he has a good memory, remember the other 100 crosses he made to the eagle in the back? He said, what do I got to lose? I can't be any worse than my crosses. I mean, I think it was perfectly hit. But again, I do think he meant it, man. But you guys know I'm not a Almeida fan, right? I think he meant it because he looks up, comes back down, and comes down on the ball and drives it with his laces, outside of his foot to get that bend. I actually thought he.
Yeah, if you want to put that ball in the heart of the box, that's a different technique.
Yeah.
It's a different and for you guys that played a little bit of football, you know what I'm talking about. It's a different. You don't hit a cross into the heart of the box like that.
You don't.
You definitely don't. So I don't care what you say about chorizos and what's not. That was a farinera right in the upper 90.
I think he said, "What do I got to lose? I got nothing to lose. The goalie's a little bit up.
It's one of those things.
I'm probably not gonna. But you know what's 1-1? Who cares? You know what I mean? It can't be any worse than my crosses.
Yeah.
And listen, he hit it perfectly. Hat goes off to him. Go sit the bench now. Let's see what we got from Douglas.
Yeah.
But I thought I mean, a lot of people are saying he closed his eyes and yada, yada, yada. I think, look, man, it's crazy. I think he meant it. And I'm usually the guy up here saying he didn't mean that. I seen his, he meant, he shot one way, but no, I think he.
It's one of those things that as soon as the ball leaves your foot, you know where it's going. You know exactly where it's going. You just hit it so sweetly. I don't think
he knew it was going there. He tried. That was way better than his imagination could ever think of. I mean, I'm just saying I could have dreamed that up.
Absolutely. So let's before we turn our attention to the CSKA game, let's talk through the Eusebio Cup, which is going to take place this October 6th up in Hamilton. I think that's I'm not very familiar with the geography of Canada, but I think it's Hamilton, Ontario. It's not Toronto, Ontario, but it's still in the province of Ontario. Tim Horton Field, I think it is. It's the guy, the coffee shop, I think.
That's
like Dunkin' Donuts.
That's like their Canadian Dunkin' Donuts. I heard their donuts are better than the Dunkin' Donuts. But we'll leave that. We got to try those out some other time.
Yeah, October 6th. I believe that's a Friday night. So if you get a chance, get up there. A lot of people have asked me whether or not I'm going. Unfortunately, I'm not planning on going because I am actually planning on going to Portugal before the year is out to see if I can catch a Champions League game. So I'm not really planning on going. I also have a trip for work in the beginning of October, so it makes it kind of difficult. I know that Cristiano and I traveled up there and we drove, actually. We wouldn't drive this time.
Well, we missed the flight because someone didn't have his ID. No, someone misspelled someone's name on the ticket and then we couldn't confirm.
Yeah, so I don't, as of right now, I would love to come up and hang out with all you guys and meet everyone. But as of right now, I don't have plans of going. As far as Cristiano goes, I don't know. I can't speak for him. But as far as me, I'm probably going to sit out on this one. And look, I don't want to downplay anything that's going to go up there. But a Benfica trip and a Benfica visit to North America, whether it's America or Canada, is always an eventful game. Whether Benfica is playing with their B team and some guys from
Ruben Diaz is going to play.
Some guys that haven't gotten minutes. Some guys that would originally play for the Liga Taça de Cerveja. Regardless of that's what's going to happen, regardless of whether some guys don't make the trip, it's still an event, and I encourage everybody to get out there. But unfortunately for me right now, it's It's I'm kind of staying out of it. So definitely check it out. Contact Mario M dot at M dot. Contact Jafurst. See what kind of plans those guys are putting together, because as far as I know, I think they kind of want it together.
Yeah,
Get
you say
together before
at M dot. I'm making fun. I'm like,
at M dot.
I'm thinking you're giving his email address. I'm like at M dot.
At M dot.
M dot what?
Mario.
No,
Mario and Cynthia.
That's his Twitter account.
Yeah, get you guys get in touch
Yeah,
with
I
these guys, man. It'd be great to get a bunch of people together, man. And I think that if I didn't have something else going, I would definitely try to make the trip. And there was one guy that actually tweeted at me, paid for 2 tickets, $390 Canadian dollars.
Oh, Canadian, that's like $100 in
That's
US, right?
1,000 Mexican pesos. No, I think that's 240.
Damn, what's he got?
I
Bench
wanna
seats?
say.
Is he sitting on the bench?
He's sitting on Rui Vitória's lap.
Yeah, probably.
Rui Vitória's lap, and with his hand sticking out and with the eagle on his hand. No, dude. Look, it's not every year that Benfica comes out, so I guess if you could afford it, if Jacques missed, go to the game and enjoy it, man. Take your kids. Definitely an experience, and you don't get to see Benfica too often.
Yeah.
You know, so
Tremendous. I'm not crazy about them playing the Eusebio Cup outside of Portugal. I personally think
outside of the preseason.
Whatever the style. I think the Eusebio Cup. I don't care when it's played, but I prefer it be o jogo da apresentação.
Jogo da apresentação.
And Estádio da Luz. I think if you really want to honor the king, and I know he might have played in Toronto, whatever the hell it was back in NASL back days, in Chicago, wherever.
Yeah.
But I think if you really want to honor him, you honor him where he got his last, tour around the stadium. And that's where you honor him. And the place right behind us here on the wall, that's where you honor. Estádio da Luz, jogo da apresentação. Again, they're going to North America. Congratulations. Have fun, guys. If you can make it out there, why not? It's one, might be one of the few times you get to see him, because you might not have a chance to go to Portugal. So go out there, do what you got to do. I'm trying to make it. I might have other things in the works, but I'll announce that on Twitter later on. We'll see what happens. But if I could make it, I will.
If you can make it there, you can make it anywhere.
If I can make it there, no, that's New York, baby. And the other thing is, I'll only go on the one. I have to sleep in Steve-O's couch. Steve Santos.
But wait, I think Neil has a bed for you, dude.
Oh, Neil's gonna come with a bed and beer. That's not bad.
Bed and beer. You can't beat that.
Can't beat that. Can't beat that.
Free beer and a soft bed.
Yep.
So I'm sure anyone would give a bed to Cristiano.
Yeah.
Up there. Anyway, turning our attention.
Phone's blowing up.
Turning our attention now to match day 1 of the Champions League. Benfica played CSKA this past Tuesday at Estádio da Luz. I'll give you the lineup. Varela was in goal. Almeida, Luizão, Jardel, and Grimaldo making his return. Augusto played behind Pizzi, so Samaris no bueno after the Portimonense game. Salvio and Zivkovic on the wings. Jonas and Seferovic on the wing, up front, rather. It's funny because, yes, it is Champions League, but the way CSKA approach this game, it was almost like we were watching the Portimonense all over again, behind the ball and just protecting. Again, these teams which have an outside shot of making into the group stage or even into the Europa League, what they want to do is they want to go out to these stadiums, whether it's at Old Trafford, whether it's Stade de Luge, or whether it's in Switzerland, and they want to make sure that they come out with some points.
And not just that, and in particular these Russian teams, who if they get a point away at Old Trafford, Stade de Luge, that's beautiful, because when they go home, they're going to play in frigid temperatures, and that obviously suits them. So their chances go up of getting the 3 points at home. So to get 4 points out of a possible 6 in both fixtures, I think most of those Russian teams, the ones that are not at that level, they'll absolutely all sign up for it.
Yeah, absolutely. So crappy attendance, Cristiano. I think it was 30. I want to say 36, 40,000. A couple of those guys were Peggy and Steve.
That's why nobody showed up.
They finally got to hook up, and they're both in Portugal at the same time, so they went to the game together.
I just wonder if Peggy watched the game at all. He's just staring at Steve the whole time, like, go.
No. So from what I understand, the Champions League pack The prices were increased, so that could be one of the reasons why. Again,
and CSKA Moscow did not
yeah,
help
well,
as
but
well.
there's no excuse. I mean, if
I
you're a
agree,
fan of the team, there's
but
no excuse. Maybe tinham que
Papá,
ir comer.
quarta-feira, you know what I mean? Quarta-feira, what was it? Yeah,
Terça.
terça, mesma coisa, quarta, terça. Terça-feira à noite, high ticket prices. Look, you can't, the financial uh, stability in Portugal right now for people. So I can't really criticize you for not going. Now, if the tickets were at $10 a piece, yeah, I'll be the first one to. But I don't even know how much they were.
We don't know. I just
But
know.
apparently
I
they were
read that
high
there
enough
was an
that it
increase.
turned off a lot of people.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't really critique people for not spending money if indeed they were that expensive. But yeah, I mean, they would have loved to see a higher turnout. I mean, let's not kid ourselves here. But people have things to do, man. It's difficult in Portugal.
So Benfica again having difficulty breaking play into that final third. Benfica did have most of the possession, but the possession doesn't win
nowadays.
games. So Benfica struggled. They did end up getting the 1-0 by Seferovic, but
Nice play
then
by Zivkovic cutting in from the left.
That's right, Zivkovic,
Zivkovic
which was
once again creating
the best player for me.
I think he, along with Grimaldo, I thought Grimaldo had one of those turn back the clock games. I thought he was really good.
Rusty, still rusty,
but I thought he was well. You know what it is? Maybe due to the fact that we've seen Pop Sigler there for so long, that was a huge upgrade. Maybe that's what it is, and we're like, oh snap, maybe he played better than I thought. But
so what you're trying to say is like when you wear sunglasses in the sun, and it's things are kind of like a little dark, and then you take them off. It's like, whoa, I didn't know the sun was this bright.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's a full out of pop.
So anyway, so again, Benfica having problems. I mean, the problems that we spoke about against Portimonense defense.
Same exact thing. Not creating any chances. I mean,
and then when
for the first 30 minutes, the best thing Benfica did in the first half was cross the ball into the box. That's the only way I can FIFA actually touch the ball. I mean, they did nothing. Jonas was non-existent. Pizzi, once again, non-existent. Seferovic, the one thing I like about Seferovic is he's very mobile and he hustles. He reminds me of Jimenez in a way, but I think he's actually a little bit better technically.
Yeah.
Got to give him his due. Savio came in. It was Augusto. They did have possession, but the other team was able to break them down once again. They had the one chance where they turned in the box for the second goal. Well, you don't want to get to the penalty. But we'll get to that.
I mean,
I don't want to get in.
Yeah, it was.
I'm always jumping ahead, dude.
It was a penalty. Well, I guess that there's been a lot of outcry about the ref's performance.
I thought the referee was terrible.
Yeah, there is
not an excuse, but he was bad.
Absolutely. So yeah, there were some bad calls. I thought the Almeida call was bad, being that his arm was against his body. I thought the Seferovic, he could have very well have called it a penalty, but then again, apparently there's also a pull by Seferovic with the defender. So when there's fouls at the same time, usually they cancel themselves out. But I don't know if that's how the ref saw it. I really thought that the foul on Seferovic was a lot more clear cut than the one he had on the defender. So there was a couple calls that were missed, and yes, there was an outcry. But really, what it comes down to is that Benfica didn't play well enough to beat this team, which Benfica on paper is supposed to be better at home.
You hit it. It's basically the same scenario that went on in the Portimonense game. And like I said, Benfica needed a crappy penalty in order to get on the scoreboard against Portimonense. And this is what Benfica was looking for here in the game. I know that they got the one goal from Seferovic, but again, you can't wait on opportunities like this to get on the scoreboard. They have to create. They have to do better. They have to do a better job moving the ball and getting into space and finding the open, man. They just haven't done that. And again, a lot of it has to do with the fact that the whole team relies on Pizzi to do that. And when Pizzi is apagado, forget it.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah, so the penalty gets CSKA back in the game. They now feel the momentum is with them, and they get the second goal, and they walk away from Stade de Luz with the 3 points. And Benfica, when you play the Champions League, points at home is something
crucial
that you can't give up. Those points you have to guarantee, especially when you're playing a big team like Man United, that you know that you're going to have a tough game at home. But the other teams at home, there's no excuse why you shouldn't be getting the points that you're supposed to be getting, whether it's 3 points against the lower seeded team, or whether it's the 1 point against the team in pot 3. look, you got to get those points. Now, Rui Vitoria's answer in the press conference is that we got to go get these points somewhere. Look, they're going to go to CSKA in November, if I'm not mistaken, and that's going to be tough. Also, in Switzerland, Basel's not going to be, they're not going to roll over for sure. I didn't watch the Man United game, but from what I understand, Basel, we got to keep an eye on them. But there's no excuse why we shouldn't be beating these teams.
These teams that come in with their expectations, low expectations, I should say, and they watch performances like this out of Benfica, they get confident. They're like, wait a minute, why the hell can't we go in there and get the 3 points?
Mm-hmm.
Why the hell why should we let them come into our home and boss us around? So these games have a lot to do with other games going forward, a lot of game playing, a lot of players' confidence going forward. So I just think Benfica right now is not in a very good stretch.
No.
With the exception of one game at home against Blumenense, every other game's been relatively tight. Struggling on the road. And again, played at home, created nothing. Both games. I mean, Portimonense came up from second division. That's a game I'm expecting Benfica to win 4-0 easily. And they struggled. And then you go against CSKA. I mean, if you're struggling and go at home against CSKA, what the hell's going to happen to you when you go to Old Trafford? I'm just right now. I know right now we're all pessimistic and depressed because of what happened these last two games. But I mean, it's hard, man. I don't see any positives.
I think that we have reason. You might be the biggest Benfica fan, and yes, let's get up and
support the team. I'm not saying to turn your back on the team.
Get the dust off of us and continue. Yeah, support the team. But right now, the way it's going, it's not good.
It's been a bad start to the season.
Yeah.
Bad start from the transfer management, the way they handled it, right? It was atrocious. They care more about money nowadays than they actually care about putting a competitive team out there. This is an opportunity, man, to go for history. We're talking about the most historic club in Portugal. You have an opportunity to make history, okay? And this is what you get.
Yeah,
a bunch of we'll spend if we have
little shrug of the shoulder.
It's kind of like, oh, we won 4 in a row. Oh yeah, the fifth one's in the back. I mean, you could be the second team ever to win the Penta, the first one ever in the history of being. Think about those great teams that won back-to-back Champions League in the 60s, and think about the great teams in the 70s and 80s, and not the 90s, but think about those teams. And we've never done that in our great history. And it's like they settled, man. They settled, and then you compound that with their performances over the last month and a half. We're not just talking about these last two games. We're talking about going into shops and winning an extra time goal by luck, by the skin of our teeth, losing Rio Ave, struggling to beat Portimonense, who just got promoted from the second division. Going to play CSKA in Moscow at home, a game that you expect to win, nothing. It's just very flat right now.
I forgot to mention that at the end of the Portimonense game, the VAR did save us.
True.
After Benfica turning the result around, Portimonense did come out, and I hate to jump back and forth, but the VAR.
It's our show. We do what the hell we want.
Yeah, VAR did save us with it was correct. It was the correct decision.
Yeah, it was a correct call.
I mean, there's those people that want VAR, so Benfica doesn't win. Then when Benfica wins with VAR, all VAR is no good. VAR is here to benefit Benfica.
Why give those people any voice?
Yeah.
Who cares? Ignore them.
So anyway, look, now turning our attention to Benfica's next game, which is going to be at Estádio da Bessa this Saturday, 6:15 local. Arturo Soares Dias is going to be the referee.
Epa, he's on my fantasy team.
Yes. Boa Vista has just sacked their coach.
He didn't sack him.
They
stepped down.
Well, pôs o posto à disposição, pôs o cargo à disposição.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But
so they told him, okay, don't let the door hit you in the ass. Miguel Leal, and right now Boa Vista is in 17th place with 1 win, 4 losses at home, 1 win, 1 loss. Last 5 at Estádio da Bessa between Benfica and Boa Vista. 2 wins for Benfica, 2 ties, and 1 loss. Last 10 head-to-head, 5 wins for Benfica, 4 ties, and 1 loss. So we all know what happened with Benfica at Estádio da Luz last season, and we also saw the last game of the season at Estádio da Bessa, even though the championship was already clinched. But it was a team that gave us a lot of problems. Now, with the sacking of coaches, that there's always a psychological aspect that comes into play, whether or not these players were done with Miguel Leal, just didn't want him anymore, and as a result, they were underperforming. But also that psychologic factor also comes in if a new coach comes in. As of right now, and 3 days away from the game, they have not nominated a coach. From what I understand, I think Jorge Couto has taken over the team. Somebody, if you know Boavista, he was a former Boavista player. Jorge Couto and another guy are taking care, or stepping up to take care of the teams. So, if a new coach is not nominated, there's always a thing by the players when a coach gets sacked and a new coach comes in. Certain players that were probably on the outskirts or on the verge or on the fence of making the team, this is their clean slate. They get a chance to prove themselves for a new coach. Now, with a new coach not being nominated yet, they really don't have a coach to impress. So whether or not they're going to get a clean slate in this game, and whether or not that's going to be a boost for their confidence, is yet to be seen. So we really don't know. The fact of the matter is that Benfica has to respond. Benfica has to respond to the poor performance against Portimonense. They have to respond against them being questioned about the way they played against CSKA. So they have to step up. They have to win this game. They need to get back on that winning momentum.
This is a game that on paper Benfica should absolutely win, right? But if we've looked on paper over the last couple matchups, we're supposed to win them all, and we haven't. So right now, Benfica's confidence is shot. This is a revenge game for what happened last year. Remember the 3-3 started to lose, and did we tie them at the last game of the season? I think we did.
2-2.
So both draws.
Kalaika saved the draw.
Yeah, exactly. Kalaika saved the draw. So this is a revenge game for Benfica. But again, whether they have a coach or not, all right, to me that's irrelevant. I say this every single week when we're talking about whether going on the road for Benfica or playing a side to lose, which is, this is an opportunity for these guys to be in the limelight, to be in the big screen. Everybody that plays Benfica understands that that's their Super Bowl Sunday. So to me, it doesn't matter who the hell is in charge of them. These guys are going to want to come out there and perform and give it their all. They're playing in Porto. They got other incentives to do with that, whatever the hell that is they got to do. I think they're going to come out to play. Benfica has to show up. They have to respond to the critics like myself and others that have not been pleased with the way they played over the last couple of weeks, last month or so. And so right now, Benfica has an obligation to go out on the road and win this goddamn game. No ands, ifs, or buts about it.
Right, absolutely. I agree with you. All right, let's turn our attention now to questions. There's plenty of them. We have actually a couple questions here from Bruno, which after the Portimonense had to let off some steam. Here's a question, and I guess we could both answer this. And he says, if only goalkeepers, defenders, and defensive midfield counted, what would be your prediction? And he, in parentheses, says, being totally unfair and only counting this match. But I think that what he means is that if we need to look at Benfica's quality of goalkeeper, defenders, and defensive midfields versus what our opposition has, what is your prediction?
It's not good.
Where do we finish?
It's not good. I mean, the only one, Grimaldo, if he's healthy, obviously gives you a lot of confidence. Feja is a machine at winning balls back. But everybody else, I mean, from Varela to Luizão, to Jardel, to Douglas, who hasn't even played. We don't even know what the hell we got to know. To Almeida, to Eliseu. I mean, these are all question marks. I mean, especially, look, in the Portuguese league, yeah, you might still pick Benfica.
So you would say we're third place?
Oh, compared to Porto and Sporting? Oh, yeah, by far. By far. 100%. I mean, right now, both of Porto CBs will start at Benfica. Sporting Coates would definitely start at Benfica.
Even with a bum knee?
Even with a bum. I mean, come on. Look what we got back there right now. And look, Casillas is all this dust, but he hasn't given up a goal in the Portuguese league. Rui Patricio, he's better. He's better than Varela for sure. So they definitely have the upper hand on the goalkeepers. The right backs, Porto's got the best one. Piccinini, whatever the hell his name is, the Italian guy. As far as we don't know enough about, but then again, we don't have anything ourselves on the right side. So it's like, whatever. And then on the left side, I think Grimaldo is the best one out of the three. But the fact that he's always injured, you probably put Tells number one. Quintrão and Grimaldo are both in the same basket. They're both at CVS shopping in the Informer. I don't know what the hell they're doing. That's what it is.
They're both competing to see who spends the least amount of time at the trainer's office.
And then you got Feja, who's better than Danilo and William Carvalho at winning the ball. and being in position defensively. But is he better than both of those guys going forward? No, he doesn't have the wheels those guys have. He doesn't have the motor those guys have. So he lacks, severely in that aspect of his game.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but it's not good. It's not good, guys.
Here's another one from Bruno.
Wait, you didn't answer that, though. You said we could both answer it.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Okay. I think right now would be third.
Agreeing with me, you win a lot more than you lose.
Would be third, considering what we have at goalkeeper and in the back. Here's another one from Bruno. Considering the available players, how would each of you organize the lineup to be able to build up from the back? I'm not quite sure we have a center back that could play out of the back, to be honest with you, Bruno.
We don't.
It's difficult because
the right backs,
we might not have
enough about Douglas. We have to see what's up with Douglas. The center backs. I mean,
Luizão has never been a guy to play out of the back. I think the guy with the better feet coming out of the back is probably Lisandro. But there's other facets of his game that are not great.
And he's not as bad as people think he is, but he's mistake prone. And Jardel, tremendous physically, but with the ball at his feet, God dang, scares you. And he's always injured as well. Grimaldo is really the only guy that you really have confidence in going forward. But again, we have to it's sad that every time we talk about Grimaldo now, we have to refer to the fact that he's always on the shelf.
Yeah. Here's the last one from Bruno. Considering the options, should there be a change in the model of play and give up on dominating? So going away from the tactical setup that we have in which we dominate possession, basically.
Doesn't matter what formation you play in the Portuguese league. They're so much better than the opposite. They're always going to have the better of the ball. Now, in the Champions League, maybe you give it up and you play.
For effectiveness.
In the Champions League is the only way, like when you go to Old Trafford or Man United come to Portugal, then you change it around. You play on the counter. But against the Portimonenses, the Marítimos, the Paços Ferreira, you're always going to have the better of play regardless.
But
you might not create more chances like we saw this week, but they're going to have more possession.
I think that's what he's asking. Do you give up the possession?
But they can't.
To be more dominating offensively.
How would they give it up against a team against these teams they don't have?
You could change the model
against the Uniteds of the world, but not when you're better on the field, better at every position on the field. It's impossible. When I'm much better than you, you can't like these. It's sad. This is why I keep calling these guys monkeys. You can
play with 4-3-3.
You give you're still gonna have better possession against these smaller teams.
Yeah, are you gonna be able to create more?
We don't know. Right? How would you create more with that? Go ahead. Because in a 4-3-3, you're really going to be struggling with it's going to be Feja on his own in the middle, right? Unless you're going to play another player of the likes that could actually be a box-to-box, which we don't really have one. It's Samaris or Augusto. One of them is going to have to play. You can't just have Feja out there on the island by himself. We're going to put Pizzi on the right and Servi on the left?
No, 4-3-3. You still have three in the midfield.
I said that. That's what I'm saying.
So you put Gabagool
on the Gabagool, Jonas, Seferovic, right?
No, not take Seferovic out. Let's say you put Ziv.
Okay, you put Zivkovic. Then in the midfield, you put Feja, Pizzi, and who? Samaris, Augusto, Servi, but Krovinovic gonna give you more possession.
Or you put Felipe Augusto.
He's another guy that likes to play with his ball at his feet.
And you let Pizzi play behind Jonas.
But then it's not a 4-3-3 no more. Then what happens on your right side? Well, now Gabigol's gonna have to do the right way. It doesn't work. Stop. It doesn't work. Stop. Come on. They don't have the players for that, unfortunately. They don't have the players for that.
Here's one.
And again, against these monkeys, like I was saying, you give these guys enough time, they'll mess it up on their own. That's what's so amazing about these crappy teams in the Portuguese.
But
just give them time. They'll mess it up.
But does it worry you the fact that Benfica doesn't create enough chances?
That worries me, but it has nothing to do with possession.
You don't think it has to do with
they're going to have more possession.
But do you think it has anything to do with formation?
No, I think that
it's players. Changing the formation.
It's players. It's players. I think it's. Dude, they could change the formation. Where the hell are they going to get the players from? Where are they going to? All of a sudden, they're going to get a box-to-box guy? If they change the formation?
No.
They're not going to get him. All of a sudden, Pizzi. So Pizzi's going to play in the middle. You're going to have the two. So you're going to have a 4-2-1-3. That's the only way.
Well,
that's not a 4-3-3. I mean, technically, it's three guys in the midfield, but that's not a 4-3-3.
Well, you could have an inverted pyramid with face at the bottom.
No, not even at. You can't have it at the bottom. So one with the two, and again, Feja will be out left on an island. It just won't happen. Come on, stop.
But when you dominate possession, you don't have that many people. Then you really don't need two defensive midfields. You could do with faces.
Yeah, but for that, you don't even need to change the lineup against these crappy teams.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't care, dude. I don't give a crap about possession against these crappy teams. They're going to get it by default, guys.
Here's
The
one.
Portuguese league, the caliber is so low, they will get it without even trying.
Here's one from Kevin Nivek. Is Benfica's defense that bad as some say it is, or is not our offense, or is our offense to blame for the lack of goals?
Look, I think it's a little bit of both right now. I think defense is not playing up to par. They leave a lot to be desired. And I think our forwards were missing a lot of chances. They're not creating. I mean, I think right now, bottle it all up, and I think you could actually blame every sector on the field. I don't think, with the exception of one or two guys, there's no one that's really like standing out and carrying the team. Everyone's playing. I mean, Jonas the last 2 games has been non-existent. He's a striker. Svedovic has been doing his thing, but Jonas had flashes here and there. But no, Pizzi, non-existent. Savina, Zivkovic performed. Grimaldo performed. That's.
Are you surprised that Jonas is being the first forward being taken out of the game? And do you think that has to do with form, or do you think that Rui Vitória is managing his health?
His form is tremendous. I mean, he got 7 goals in the first 6 games, whatever it is. He leads the team in goals. His
Jonas.
form is, it's Jonas. His form is tremendous. I think it's other teams understand that by stopping Jonas and Pizzi, you win the game. That's a tactical decision by the other teams. Let's focus in and zoom in on these 2 guys. And Benfica's got no wings. Wings meaning to fly. Not that they don't have wings. They got plenty of wings. But they won't have the wings to create on his own. Zivkovic is the only guy that's actually come into the field and showed you a little bit different than everybody else on the field, that he could actually create on his own. You don't need to set him up. He sets other people up.
No.
Unlike Servi, unlike Salvio, which a lot of these guys, it's one-on-one individual performances. Zivkovic could actually get everyone else involved. And I think they need to change something up, man. When you got these small teams understanding that and coming inside the loose and taking away Jonas and taking away Pizzi, and that's it. The game, Benfica's done after that.
Yeah. Here's one from Ricardo Antunes at R Antunes9. Do you think that Gabagool is a good substitute for Mitroglou? I think we've already addressed this.
Very different players.
Yeah.
I mean, look, if he comes in and he adds positive results, and he performs well, yeah, he's going to be. But I think the guy that you should be looking at as the Mitroglou replacement is Seferovic. That's his direct replacement, guys.
A couple things here from Diogo Reis at Fluid Figo. I said this 2 years ago, and the man shut me up for a few years. However, the time is now for Luizão to step down. He also says, only positive I got from yesterday was that Gabagool and Zivkovic need more playing time somehow. Well, definitely Ziv. I need to see a little bit more of Gabagool. And in regards to Luizão, I think that if Luizão has a capable guy with some legs next to him, he'll be fine.
Bro, but here's the thing. You want to replace Luizão. I'm all for it. I've been all for it for years now, if you guys recall as well, Fredo. Remember?
But you got to bring the quality.
Hold on. If you want to, that's fine. But replace him with who, guys? Figo, answer. Replace him with who? Who on this roster gives you the confidence to replace Luizão? Tell me. Hit us up right now. Hashtag Benfica Podcast if you got time. Hit us up. Who the hell are you going to replace him with?
Yeah. Here's one from Mauzão at Il Capo Soprano. Rui Vitória compared to JJ at Benfica is inferior due to his hesitance to play attacking football and dominate the opposition. Agree?
Come on, dude. We're going to get into this Vitória thing. Listen, JJ's a better coach. Benfica played a lot more attractive soccer. This guy, hate him or like him, he's got 2 championships. A little bit early to start. I mean, I don't know. Whatever. Listen, I'm trying not to be critical of the guy. I don't know. Look.
Here's another one from Malzone. The club's ambition, quality, and standards have declined due to title success in recent years. Number 1 priority is money. Do you agree? I think we've mentioned that already. Yeah. Here's one from Benfiquinho at Benfiquinho. If Benfica don't get out of their Champions League group and finish 3rd or lower, would you change manager, players, or both? Boy,
while you're at it,
man.
Both. Send them on the plane to an island, to Australia, like they used to do back in the day. Send all the convicts to Australia. Send them all there and just get a whole new team while you're at it.
I think that first thing is that we got to look at the objectives that were set for both the team and Vitoria this year.
Even if objectives aren't met this year, it's hard to get rid of a guy that just won 2 titles.
No,
I'm not guys, I wouldn't mind replacing him with an upgrade, but I think it would be harsh to get rid of him after what he done the last 2 seasons.
And the thing is that we've been saying here all this time this year that this team doesn't have the depth and the quality to play competitive Champions League. So if they bow down of the Champions League, hey, it's not going to be a big surprise. Will it be a letdown? Yes, absolutely be a letdown, because on paper we could very well go on to the next round because we're better than Basel, we're better than CSKA. We're not better than Manchester United, obviously, but we have that chance to qualify second. If we don't qualify and we drop to Europa or even in 4th place, I will be let down. But it won't be something that I will be, calling for heads to roll.
Bro, but let's just face it. Rui Vitória does not have the ingredients this year. I mean, he went into the kitchen with a recipe to cook you a cozida portuguesa, and he has the ingredient.
He has the ingredient
to give you the arroz marisco.
He's going to come out with caldo verde.
It's like, hey, guys,
shred up those couves.
I did the best I could do.
Here's one from Jafost. Do you believe Ruben Dias will eventually see Liga minutes, given the limitations that Luizão and Jardel possess?
I hope so. I want to see this kid either sink or swim, one or the other. I'm tired of hearing about this kid for 3 years. If he's that good, he'd be playing now, especially with all the injuries and all the doubts. Let's see this kid play. Throw him out there. He's either going to sink or he's going to swim. Let's see what's up with him.
Here's another one from Jaforce. Granted, he's been injured. Does Krovinovic present an opportunity to change the formation and play with the 10 alongside Pizzi? Here's that triangle we're talking about.
Yeah, what do you do with Jonas?
Well, Jonas
is really like your number 10.
Yeah, but he plays a little bit more up. So he's saying inverted pyramid with Krovinovic and Pizzi up top.
It could work against the lesser teams. I don't know. If you really want possession, that's who you go with. You put the 4 of them in the middle. Augusto, Feja, Krovinovic, and Jonas and Pizzi. That's the way you're going to get. And even Gabigol. You get these guys, they're going to give you the best chance at possessing the ball. But, again, possession, that's what Benfica has. The problem is creating chances.
Who would you have started yesterday versus CSKA? Would you have included Raul in the starting 11? Nah, I probably would have put the same 11 out there.
Same thing. Right now, it's early.
Yeah. What's your impression of Felipe Augusto so far this season? And do you feel there's anyone on the B team that is better?
Don't tell me Pepe. And he got loaned out anyway.
Pepe.
Whatever. Dude, why am I answering all the questions? I mean, why I always got to be the negative
I'm reading the questions you're answering. You don't have to answer. I can answer.
Dude,
he's been up and down. He had one game that he was okay. Yeah. And then he's had horrible games.
He's okay. I mean, could Benfica definitely have better at that position? Yeah, 100%.
Here's at Big Benfica, Senhor Dr. Rum ao 37. Do you think a 4-3-3 would be better option? Krovinovic and Pizzi as midfielders and allow Gabagul more freedom at the wing.
No, that works to give.
That's the 4-3-3.
That gives Alfredo. My goodness gracious. Yes, if that's what you want to do to free up Gabagol, perfect. But guess what? You'll be winning games 5-4 because, Feja will be alone on an island in the middle.
Well,
Gabagol's not tracking back. Krovinovic, from what I've seen, he's more of a guy that likes to play for. He ain't going to be tracking back. Pizzi tracks back, but he's just there to occupy space. I mean, do you understand? Like, not everyone can play a 4-3-3, guys. You need the horses. You need the box-to-box guys. Feja does not have the wheels to play in a 4-3-3.
You need a guy to balance.
And you can't leave him alone.
Yeah, you need a guy to balance your...
That's why Renato would have been perfect to play in a 4-3 because that kid had that energy for 3 games. He would have been perfect. Don't have that right now.
Here's one from Jason, ex-Sugar Daddy. Does Julio Cesar get the start against Boavista? I think that he stays with Varela.
Yeah, I think he stays with Varela. I would like to see JC back in goal, but we'll see.
Yeah, here's another one from ex-Sugar Daddy, Jason. Did Zivkovic good performance last game get him a start at Boavista over Servi? I think that right now you got to go with the hot hand. And he's the hot hand.
Forget the hot hand. You got to tell the kid you're playing. Look, go. You're going to play the next 10 games. I don't give a crap what the hell you do. Just go.
Nelson. Lucindo, Boavista just parted ways with its manager. The start to a revival. Who's to blame for the center back situation? Rui or FO. I don't know FO. I'm sorry, man. I'm
FO
uh,
Flipovic.
I'm guessing the structure.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know. I mean,
financial officer
yeah, it could be.
maybe.
Look, when it comes down to it, I think that a team that's factoring 100 million euros per transfer window, and if Rui Vitoria goes and meets with Felipe Vieira or Rui Costa, whatever, and says, "Look, I need a center back." If he says that I need a center back this year, I don't think the team hesitates in getting one. Now, whether or not that happened, or whether or not he had that conversation, said, "Nah, I'm good," we don't know. So we don't know who to blame. The fact is that there's this deficiencies in the back that we've identified that apparently the technical staff and the direction or the whatever the administration is not worried about, because apparently somebody's telling them it's okay.
It's either they have trust in what the hell they have now, or very easily they didn't find anyone suitable for their price range. That's it. Easy as that. So,
Yeah.
I mean, those are things that we won't know. But if it came down to Rui Costa or Luis Vieira or the FO, whatever the hell that is, decided not to, I think that's a bad job by them. And I went, I mean, weeks ago, I went over this crap. Their MO this year coming to the season was, we're going to spend that money to build the best academy in the world. Like, they never really made reinforcing the team a priority. So I think maybe that comes up from above. So maybe it is on Rui Costa and whoever else is bringing in players.
Again, Jason, if you could only eat one thing at the Eusebio Cup tailgate party, what would it be? Leitão, bifanas, or beef a casa? Or burger?
Burger. I mean, why is even burger making the list? I mean, come on. Coño.
Some guys like burgers.
Leitão, I don't know, man, because Leitão's got to be from certain places, got to be done crispy, got to be done well. So it depends.
I'm good for a bifana or a corato.
We have the bifanas outside side of the lose, no garbage.
Yeah, but maybe the ones up in Toronto are good.
Maybe. All right, yeah, let's bifana with onions. No onions.
Yeah, Mo. It's not the defense; it's the offense. You can't win by scoring only one goal.
Actually,
where's the imagination for
1-0
goals?
is good enough.
I agree with you that there's no imagination, Mo. João Gomes, what's up, João Gomes? Hi, guys. I'll keep my questions related to the games ahead. Boa Vista just announced their coach left tonight. Good for SLB. I think we've already discussed that one.
Beleza.
Regarding the League Cup match against Braga on the 20th, should we start Douglas, Gabagul, João Carvalho, Ruben Dias, Krovinovic?
Bora. Why not? Why you rather get Jose Gomes, Umari Balde? Let's get everybody in there. And the CJ. Nah, Svilar probably get play. Get some. Yeah, I mean, look, it's a good point. Why not? What do you got to lose?
Kevin at POR_soccer. Benfica clearly robbed on that penalty. Why doesn't UEFA have VAR in this competition? Because that was huge. I think
that's above my pay scale.
UEFA is seeing how things shake out in the leagues before they even
I'm gonna tell you
adopt
why.
things.
I'm gonna tell you the most logical answer to that. No, it's because
Casculho.
with VAR, they can't rig the competition for Real Madrid, Barcelona.
Hey, for this.
They can't rig it for these teams. Now they could. That's simple. Ask Bayern Munich how they feel about Real Madrid last year in the VAR. Why don't you ask PSG about the VAR in Barcelona? Ask these teams, even though they're big boys, ask them what they think about whether VAR should be installed here in the in the UEFA competitions or not. And they'll tell you exactly what I told you, because then they can't manipulate the results.
I don't subscribe to that.
All right.
Here's one from Kevin again. Was it a huge mistake? Benfica focused on other positions to fill instead of defense. Now must wait until January. What do you make of this?
I don't know. Is this Portista really thinking about switching over, or is he teasing us?
Got a valid point.
I mean, but why is he so interested in Benfica?
He's a good friend of mine.
I did so because I'm a good friend of Portistas. I don't care about Porto.
Hey, but I mean, he's showing
I don't know. I've
his
seen him
fair
with a
play.
that ain't fair play. I think
I seen him with the Benfica shirt on.
exactly. I think he's thinking about switching over. He's trying to get his P's and Q's in order. I don't know.
If he's gonna switch over, he's gonna switch to Santa Clara.
Coitadinhos.
Uh, let's see. What do you guys really think of Pizzi? I think he's overrated and can't do it against the bigger teams, especially in Europe. And that's from Paulo Tomas.
Paulo, listen to the last 3 years of our podcast.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
know exactly how I feel.
Steve is big on him, and he's had moments. We recognize that.
And that might be why he was crappy yesterday, because he knew Steve was in attendance watching him. Steve was going to break down his play. You know, that might have brought a lot of nerves to Pizzi. You never know. Never know.
I think that's it. That's all the questions that we have. We appreciate all the questions you guys sent in. Definitely appreciate it. We went, we're off a week, but I think we were over an hour.
And I was like,
Kevin agrees with you. He says this UCL is rigged.
he's not a dumb Portista. He's smart.
Yep.
He's
all right,
gonna
guys.
be a Benfiquista anyway. That's why.
Please don't forget to look into the Benfica Eusebio Cup tickets, and if you have a chance, get
those
up
of
there.
you that are in Toronto.
Or if you, I know some guys that will make the trip. Get on a van Friday night. Get out there.
No, we got to get there Friday night.
Yeah, so
You
leave
gotta
leave Friday morning.
Thursday morning.
No, it's
Thursday night.
It's about 8 hours.
Yeah, and that was without sleeping at the wheel.
No,
imagine if we were awake.
This is what you do. This is what you do. You leave Friday morning. Okay. Paca umas sandezinhas de fiambre com queijinhos, pastéis de natas e essa merda. You get in a van, get up there, watch the game. Depois vão para não, from the van. Depois vão para a bebedeira. And then
don't get back in the van after that.
Then go sleep in a park somewhere, and then get back on the van and come back in time for the misa on Sunday.
Just sleep outside the stadium, and when the players come out, you get autographs.
That's right. Kevin says he'll never switch to the dark side. Porto forever.
Coitado.
She said his wife wanted to tune in, so we did. I think it's good programming.
Glad
I think your wife
to see
got good
someone
taste.
in the family's got brains.
I hope that little girl, as she converted yet to Benfica, or I think if the mom has anything to it, she'll be Benfica. Especially in her younger years, she hasn't seen a Porto championship yet. Anyway,
neither have a lot of Sportingistas. It's still Sportingistas. Just saying.
Guys, thank you very much for checking us out. planetbenfica.co.uk, at Benfica Podcast on Twitter, at 10CO10, at Talking to the Doll, at Steve Santos 6, BenficaPodcast.com. I think that's all we have. Check us out. We're on Facebook, also iTunes. Listen, rate us, so on and so forth.
We're going to be giving out a Benfica shirt.
You are?
On my account, another one, whether on my account or your account, we're going to be giving out. So follow.
Who won the last one?
Gabriel.
Did you send it out?
Yeah, Mexico.
Oh, he sent it to Mexico. Wow.
Gabriel, what the hell is his
Gabagool.
Yeah, another Gabagool. Gabriel Tejada. That's his name.
Gabriel Tejada. Excellent.
Yes.
All right, very good. Thank you very much, guys. Next week we'll be back. We'll break down the Boavista game and we'll look ahead to what Benfica has coming up. I think another Champions League game, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe not. Anyway, I always forget to do this. Thank you, and I'll talk to you guys.
October 18th, I believe.
All right. I don't know. Bye-bye. See everybody.
Peace.